Hey, stay right there. If you sell anything in your life, if you are in a business, or you're planning to even start a business, or you're a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur, just like me, I run many businesses, or a serial entrepreneur, everything is, you are in a marketing business, okay? I have no clue what you do for your life, for your business. I know you are into one thing, selling more and getting more from your client. However, in a selling, I do it for living myself, and probably you are, that's why you're watching this video. And always a one question comes in. Many people want to get to the bottom line question. Hey, how much do you charge? And as a salesperson, I have not even finished my presentation yet. Oh my God. And how do I answer that question? And we all get stuck. I know you can relate to this, what I'm talking here. If you have ever been faced with this question, is this whole interview is focused on this one thing. How do you answer that question? How much do you charge? If you ever face this question, you are going to watch and consume every word. Relax. This can change your business forever. Let me tell you, I'm not going to answer this question myself because I am a student like you are here. I'm going to learn and watch myself just like you. That's my passion. I bring people with interesting topic who actually solve a real problem in other people's, make their life job easy. I love that one. I can leverage more myself and I can make an intelligent answer. And then I look like an intelligent person. I'm not. I'm going to introduce you to my good friend. You probably have never heard about him. If you ever even heard about him, who cares? It is about you, it's not about him. He is here with a message to improve your life. Not his life is already improved. And he is so blessed with this specific knowledge how to answer this type of question and improve your business. If you are with me so far and you have not closed the video yet, why not welcome our good friend, David Newman. David, welcome.
Hey, Sadiq, it's great to be here with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so honored that you are with us. Hey, folks, let me tell you how I got connected with David Newman. And you probably think how I bring the most interesting guests to my show. I was on Alex Mendosian's hangout a few weeks ago, and he had his good friend Sam Richard on his Richard Richter. I'm sorry, I misspelled the name. I'm going to say it again. Sam Richter. And I like the way he was presenting his content. Then I went on his website. I sent him an email, and I saw his blog. On his blog, I was reading a few interesting things, and this one post got my attention. I'm going to share a screen right now so I can show you what I'm talking, and I can tell you how I find people. So you can do it for your own business too. And hold on, I'm going to get you on the screen. And okay, see this? This is Sam Richter. I could not even pronounce his name before. So I was reading his 17 great answers. How much do you charge? I like this dollar sign. I'm sure we all love it. And I was reading through and then saw, oh, I thought it's coming from Sam. The moment I start reading these questions, answers, I love this one. How much do you charge? A lot. Why do you ask? We are going to get to every one bit of this. And then I saw that it was from him, and then I found out that message was from David Newman. Then I followed him on LinkedIn and sent him a nice message. David probably can tell it was nice or not. And then we got connected, and finally here we are on this hangout. This is a little background how I outreach to. I follow their content if I like the content, and then outreach to that person and book a time with myself. Why I'm telling you all this is you can do this similar stuff in your business. You got to be interested in them, like their content, then actually outreach to them and do something for you. So then people are very receptive to your message instead of trying to sell and talk on them. You want to be engaged with them first. So let me introduce you to David Newman. I'm showing you his LinkedIn profile. One thing is I can read this whole like a profile. You don't want me to do it. Why not you go ahead and find him on LinkedIn and add him as a connection so that way you can start learning just like I started learning from him. And David Newman is a nationally acclaimed marketing expert and author of Do It Marketing 77 Instant Action Ideas to Boost Sales, Maximize Profits, and Crush Your Competition. Okay, so let me show you that book. He is the author of that book, and I'm going to show you when we are done with this interview, I want you to once we are done with this interview, I want you to actually go ahead on Amazon and get this book. It's hardcover and Kindle, and plus many people who actually bought it before, they're selling it for a resale. Who cares? I want you to get the book from him and read it and follow in your business. Okay, so it's a Do It Marketing book. I love the cover, and I have seen the preview too. I have not read it yet. I am just like you. I told you I'm a student just like you. I'm going to get the book and do it, and then why not we share with each other what we learned from it? Then we can ask the questions to David. Okay, so this is the little bio for, and David, welcome to our show. Now all of our audience love you already. I can tell. I can feel it because I know my audience.
And more importantly, Sadiq, I love them.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
And again, just as we're getting rolling here, thank you again for inviting me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. How much? So how do you really answer? I know that you have a 17 answer to this question. How much do you charge? Before even we answer it, what gave you the right to actually speak on this topic?
Well, that's a great question. You know, I think like a lot of experts, and maybe like you as well, you know, the only reason that anyone should listen to any of us is because we've made every mistake in the book, and we've stumbled, and we've fumbled, and we've blown things up, and we've totally screwed up these kind of sales conversations and marketing conversations. I would say the only reason people should listen to me is because I have screwed up so often in the past, and I've learned a little bit from each of those mistakes and each of these missteps that, you know, I now know all the things not to say, all the things not to do, all the things that do not work from the School of Hard Knocks, not only my School of Hard Knocks, but also all the hundreds of clients that I've worked with. So as a marketing speaker, as a marketing coach, I have the privilege of working with dozens and dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs, salespeople, marketing people, consultants, speakers, other experts. And you know, as I'm coaching them and working with them, I also learn from their experience as I'm guiding them towards the smart things to do and guiding them away from the dumb and the unproductive things that I myself used to do years and years ago.
Thank you. Thank you. So when someone asks how much do you charge, what is the answer?
Well, so let me give you a couple of just initial comments about that question. First of all, it's a great question. And people say, oh, I really don't like when they ask how much do you charge. I don't like when they ask too early. I don't like when they ask it the wrong way. They ask it at the wrong moment in my sales presentation. So the first thing is it's a great positive buying signal. When someone says how much do you charge, they're not asking because they're curious. They're asking because they may be interested in giving you money. So first of all, reframe that from a bad question or a dangerous question or a scary question into a really positive buying signal kind of question. The three answers that you don't want to give, you don't want to give some random answer. For example, a lot of people, a lot of salespeople and marketing people and a lot of entrepreneurs, they say, well, on average, it costs X. And the average, no one cares about the average. They say, hey, how much is this going to cost for me, for my situation, for what I want to fix, for what I want to solve, for what I want to buy? So don't quote some random number. Don't quote a range. Don't quote the average. Don't quote any of that. Number two is don't act surprised or don't be caught off guard by that question. Expect the question to come at the wrong time. Expect the question to come too early. Expect the question to come at an awkward moment during that conversation, and then be prepared for it. And then the third thing not to do is don't get defensive. Don't start to defend your price or say, well, it's $17,000, but that's because, or it's $5,000, but I can work with you, which means you've got no pricing integrity, and that you're willing to negotiate down to zero, and then that gets the prospect thinking, how low can we go? So just don't do those three things. Reframe the question as a positive, and then we'll go through all the specific answers that some of them are funny, and some of them are very relevant, and some of them get the prospect focused back on where they should be focused, which is on solving their problem.
Great. This is really to clearing up the mindset, you know.
Absolutely. It's always mindset before skill set. You are so right. And that's what I teach when I speak, when I present, when I coach people. I always say it's mindset before skill set. Because you know what? Here's the big surprise. Most salespeople, most marketing people, most entrepreneurs, they already have the skill set. Where they're falling down and where they're missing out on sales is the mindset. Is that they don't have the high value, premium fee, premium client mindset, and they have kind of a struggling mindset or a poverty mindset.
Great. So let's dive into this one. I'm sure they want to know what is the answer, what is the real answer. So what would be the first answer? We will go one by one. So what is the first answer? Then we want to know why is that answer,
So the first answer I recommend is a little bit of a funny answer, but it also disarms the prospect and it gets you back into a human-to-human conversation. So someone says, hey, David, how much do you charge, or how much is your program? My first answer is a lot. Why do you ask? Now, the reason I say that, and again, I wouldn't say it in that way. I'm saying it that way now for emphasis. But if we're on the phone and I say, hey, hold on. Hey, yeah, how much is it? Oh, well, it's a lot. Why do you ask? That's how I'd really do it in real life. Because what I want to find out, why do you ask? Well, I may be interested in buying it. Why do you ask? Well, this may be something that, when I read your book, I thought you might be someone I'd like to work with. So it surfaces the reason for the question, and it also adds a little bit of humor, but it also positions it as a premium product or service or program. So as soon as you say a lot, why do you ask? It's meant to reconnect the buyer with why they're calling, what they're hoping to accomplish, and what the benefit of a working relationship with you might look like.
Great. That's so easy. A lot. Why do you ask? That's it?
That's it.
That's it? You made my job so simple by now. So let's move to the, what would be the next number 2 alternate to that question?
Well, so the second answer, and again, there's a whole list of these, and by the way, each of these answers, you want to use the right answer for the right prospect at the right moment for the right reason. So that's why there's 17 of these, because not every one of these answers is going to be a fit. So if your prospect is very serious and is using short sentences and seems very businesslike, chop, 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 a lot, why do you ask, is a perfect answer to that kind of person, right? Because they're very bottom line. They want to cut to the chase. They don't want to waste time. You as the salesperson, you also don't want to waste time. And so if someone is being short and direct, then use one of the short and direct answers. If someone is more conversational and friendly and outgoing, use one of the more humorous or friendly or outgoing answers. But my second answer, someone says, hey, David, how much is it? And this is if they ask too early in the conversation. And too early can mean a lot of things. It means I don't know what they want. I don't know what they need. I don't know what they're buying. I don't know if they need a small, a medium, a large, or a supersize solution. So I really don't know what they're buying. So my second answer is I don't think we're there yet because I don't know what you're buying. It's like someone walks into a real estate office and says, how much is a house? Well, I don't know. How big is your family? How many cars do you have? What kind of house do you like? I don't know how much is a house. It could be 100,000. It could be 25 million. It could be anywhere in between. So that's a totally legitimate, serious answer. And when you say, I don't think we're there yet, that is an assertive way to take back control of the sales process. You say, I don't think we're there yet because I really don't know what you're buying. I mean, I could quote you a number out of thin air, but I guarantee you that won't be your number. And so let's get back to what you're after. What are you trying to accomplish? What made you call? What sparked your interest in our product or service or program? And get back into the value conversation and put off the sales conversation or the pricing conversation until you know really what they're buying.
Great. This is amazing. Again, making life simpler, and you can follow word by word almost. And now you not caught off guard, and you lost your train of thought because you already planned for this one. That's the whole purpose of this training. So if you're still watching, and you have not left it yet, better, more to come. There's more. You watch this commercial on that. There's 15 more to go. Let's go for the number 3.
So number 3, again, if someone's really hammering away, let's say they've asked now 2 or 3 times. They say, okay, Sadiq, seriously, how much is it? What does it cost? How can I hire you? The third question is, or the third answer is, I'll answer your question in a moment, but to give you a more accurate answer, may I ask you 3 questions first? And now those 3 questions can be anything that would get them back into the sales conversation about really what they want, what they need, what they're after, what they're hoping that your product or service will generate for them by way of a result, an outcome, an impact, or value. And that is hugely important, those 4 things. So any kind of price, if you did not yet uncover the prospect's need for some kind of change, some kind of value, impact, result, or outcome, personally, professionally, organizationally, for themselves, for their family, for their company, for their sales, for their marketing, for their production, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's a business-to-business sale, business-to-consumer sale. This could be an impact on their health, an impact on their weight, an impact on their hair, an impact on their parenting. This could be any sort of impact, but think in terms of those 4 things: value, impact, results, and outcomes. If you craft your 3 follow-up questions to really understand what is it that they're trying to accomplish, then you can intelligently give them a price. And so the third answer is, I'll answer your question in a minute, and you do want to answer the question ultimately, because if someone asks more than 2 or 3 times, that means they really want an answer. But the answer is, I'll answer your question in a moment, but to give you a more accurate answer, and that's the reason why, right? To give you a more accurate answer, let me ask you 3 questions first. And that gets you back into the context of what they're trying to solve and gets you away from naming a number in a vacuum.
Great. Can I ask you some question as a follow-up, and there's more to it?
Sure.
Why 3 person like me, like a sales dummy person, they say, why 3? I may have 5 questions in my sales process. I may have like a 10 questions in my sales process before I will actually can give them the price.
Well, right? So yeah, it's a great question. And it's a little bit, it's not really meant to be manipulative or deceptive, but I found 3 buys you some time. Now when you say, hey, can I ask you 3 questions first? And again, who's everyone's favorite person? Everyone's favorite person is themselves. So if I'm asking you, Sadiq, 3 questions about you, and then I sneak in a 4th one, and then I sneak in a 5th one, you're probably not going to notice because you're having so much fun talking about you, yourself, your company, your goals, your problems, your heartaches, your headaches, your challenges. No one has ever said, I didn't like that salesperson because he spent way too much time asking about me, right?
I love it.
I didn't like that salesperson. He spent way too much time talking about him and his product and his company. I don't care about him. I want this guy to ask about me. So the more you ask about them, the more patience and the more engaged they will be in that sales process. So you can ask for 3, and you might end up asking all 10 of your questions that you need to ask.
Wonderful. My friend, if you're still watching this, here is the moment. You want to be buyer focused. It's not about you. Nobody cares about you when you're selling. They care about what their business is, and you want to learn from them what their business is. And more they talk, people love to talk about themselves. Give them the opportunity in a certain format, so actually that leads to a certain conclusion, and you get the information. You cannot superimpose your solution on them. You need to kind of align your solution what their problems are. Okay, is that the real message, David? If you want
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Cool. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much. I cannot wait for everything else you are going to share with me. And my friends, they are watching this. If you really like what you heard so far, why not write a message underneath, engage, ask a follow-up question, what you learned from this so far. Because it's all about engagement. It's not about, we are not talking at you, we want to talk with you, so that way we want to be buyer focused. So you are our prospect. We want to hear from you, just like we are practically implementing, asking you right now. Go ahead under the video. There is a place where you can put a Google Plus comments and Facebook comments and write it, how you actually go about your sales process. While you're doing this, I'm going to ask David one more question. David, go ahead with your number 4.
Sure. Well, this is sometimes when people are asking for a discount, or they're saying, can you work with us on pricing, or they just think it's more expensive. Now, you haven't named a price yet, but they just think that it is super expensive, and they say, well, you know, do you have any discounts? Can I get the friends and family rate? And again, you haven't named a number, but they're already asking for the friends and family rate. My 4th answer is, well, the friends and family rate might apply, but we're not friends yet. We're not friends yet. So do you mind if I ask you a few friendly questions that will help us answer the pricing question together? Now, this is kind of a variation on answer number 3, but notice the phrasing at the end, right? Do you mind if I ask you a few friendly questions so that we can help, so this can help us together, you and me, help us answer your pricing question together. So it sets a collaborative conversation for the pricing, not a me versus you, what it costs, what you can afford, what I charge versus what you think it's worth. It takes that adversarial piece out of it, and again, it's fun, it's a little bit humorous, you know, friends and family. Well, we're not quite friends yet, but let me ask you a few more friendly questions so that we can, you know, together, that might help us work out your pricing question. And it's also another variation of, I don't know what you're buying yet. So the principles start to, you know, there's only 3 or 4 of these pricing principles. All 17 of these answers are variations and different ways to tap in based on your own personality and based on the personality of your prospect.
Wonderful. And I have seen this one. I sell a very high-end clients. My clients pay me $25K, $50K, $100K. I have even sold on a phone without even meeting a person $200K packages in my little experience. And many, they want to jump to the conclusion, oh yeah, give me a discount, we are friends, blah, blah, blah. Now, I did not know this, what you just shared with me. Now I can tell you, I will be a good student. I execute everything what I learned from others.
Right.
I model it, and I have your permission to model it. Is that correct?
Absolutely. That's why it's out there.
Okay, cool. Cool. That's so amazing. I'm so excited and pumped up. And my audience are too. How do I know? I'm reading your comments underneath. Why not go ahead and write a comment if you are watching still so far. If you're not bored from my accent and David's pleasant personality with all the humor and fascinating answers to the question, how much do you charge? Okay, go for it. Number 5.
So number 5, again, this is about premium pricing and about setting the expectation and having a little bit of humor in the conversation. But if someone asks at the wrong time or in the wrong way, how much do you charge? One of my answers is, it's $9 million until I know what you're buying. So can we spend a few minutes narrowing that down to help you lower the price? And again, the language there at the end is kind of fun. Hey, listen, it's $9 million. Why? Because that's the ultimate, that's me being your slave for the next 10 years. Will cost you $9 million. If that's not what you have in mind, then let's figure out what you're really buying, and that will help us lower the price. Now again, let's say you're selling, Sadiq, you said you sell these $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 packages, and that's awesome. Maybe we should talk offline about how you do that, because I'd love to be in that ballpark myself. So then the question is, okay, you just quoted $9 million even as a joke, and now they find out it's really $100K. Well, because you anchored their mind at $9 million, even $100K sounds less expensive. It sounds reasonable. It sounds affordable, because you put it in the context of this big giant number, even as a joke, because the brain often cannot distinguish what is said in humor versus what is said seriously. So you say, well, hey, listen, it's $9 million until I know what you're buying. The brain says $9 million. That's an awful lot of money. You then come to the end of the conversation a few minutes or half an hour later, and you say, well, based on what you want to accomplish, I have a program for that. It costs $100K, and here's how it works, and here's what you get, and here's the value, impact, outcome, and results of you putting in that $100K, and hopefully the outcome is many multiples of that $100K coming back to them. You've already anchored them at $9 million, so $100K now sounds cheap.
So, David, what you're talking about is almost like a law of gravity. So you're like coming from all the way and coming down.
Yes.
And they say, oh, I'm more relaxed now. It looks like a very cheap and very reasonable package, because they say, oh, his high end is, even though you said as a joke, it's a $9 million. They don't know it's real or not.
Right.
Is that true?
That's true.
Okay, cool. And by the way, my philosophy is, even when we are offering something, I don't even offer a price at all. I say, just like, if it's really, I'm sure it's one of your answers, by the way, which I use it without even not knowing it. Now I will be using it formally, because I'm learning it formally I'm authenticating my sales cycle, basically, with you to answer that question. So far we have gone through 5, and I can go home and close the video if I like to, but why I'm going to watch this more, because there's more coming after this. Let's start from number 6.
So the next answer is, again, a little bit of humor, but also reality checking. I call this bracketing, and bracketing is you give them a high number and a low number, and it sounds like this. Well, Sadiq, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is that you don't have a $500,000 problem. The bad news is that you also don't have a $100,000 problem. Now, if you can help me answer some key questions, and then we'll both know a lot more about what your investment might look like. So again, this is big picture bracketing. You say you don't have a $1 million problem, but you also don't have a $10,000 problem. So now the prospect is thinking, okay, somewhere between those two numbers that he mentioned, 100,000, 500,000, 10,000, a million, whatever the range is that you want to do, right? But again, it re-anchors them into the conversation. If you can help me answer some key questions, we'll both know more about what your investment might look like, right? So very powerful language. It again uses the language of collaboration, and it gives them the big, so if I honestly say to you, good news, it's not a $500,000 problem, but the bad news is it's also not a $100,000 problem, and then I can add, is that somewhere in the range of what you were looking to invest? And they say, oh my God, $100,000. No, I thought this would be $500. I thought this would be, cheap. Then you can gracefully end the conversation, and that person is not a prospect because they don't have the budget. So it's also, some of these questions can also be a disqualifying question that will prevent you from wasting time with non-buyers who don't have the budget and don't even have anywhere in the ballpark of the budget that you're trying to sell into.
Oh, that's a great because many salespeople keep talking to like dialing for the dollars thing, and they don't even know they're talking to the qualified people.
Right.
And can I share some secret with you how I do it?
Sure.
I don't even find a lead until they already are proven buyer to somebody else. Okay, what we do is we go into premium, the big thought leaders, and they have the private secret masterminds. They pay them 25K, 50K. And you
Sure.
and I both know we can mention so many names here. And they have the large communities online. And we actually contact them. They're already proven buyers in your industry, in your niche.
Right.
They're already proven. They are not broke. So we do not talk to unqualified people by any means.
Right.
In fact, my friends, my clients call me. I know how to vet people. I don't know. They say they never met a person like me how to vet because
Yeah.
there's a reason. I disqualify everybody on the front. Many people say in a criminal justice system, you are innocent until you're proven guilty. In the business world, you are guilty until you're proven innocent. Because
Right.
99% people are not going to do business with you. Why you are even trying to sell to them at
Right.
all? You are
Yep.
talking
Great
to the wrong
point.
person. Just focus on that 1%. You will love your sales job. Otherwise, if I was focusing on 99%, I would have been quitted many years ago in my sales job.
Right.
That's the difference. Goal is to find those 1% in your niche, and so you enjoy talking to them. They love talking to you, and if you convert easily and for much higher premium prices.
Right.
Plus, as a salesperson, you're watching this, you can make more commission if you're talking to the right people. Less number of calls, and you enjoy talking to the people.
Right.
Okay, let's go back to David. So hopefully.
So the next one, again, this is kind of just the summary, and it's a different way of saying some things we've been saying already, but it's a very simple statement. So someone says, hey, David, how much is it? I say, well, if it works, it's cheap. If it doesn't, it's expensive. And the reason I say that, number one, it's true, right? If it works, it's cheap. If it doesn't work, it's expensive. It shows that it's a collaboration. So I could be the world's greatest marketing consultant, marketing speaker, marketing mentor. If you don't implement anything that I teach and I show you, and I'm very, very specific, what to say, how to say it, what to do, how to do it, but you don't lift a finger, and you've paid me $8, $10, $12, $15,000, whatever it might be, that is the dumbest money you've ever spent. If you don't implement, if it doesn't work, and all my programs, Sadiq, have a 1,000% guarantee. It sounds like this. I 1,000% guarantee that all the strategies and tactics that you do not implement will not generate results.
Oh, I love it.
That's my 1,000% guarantee. I've never seen that fail. I've never had to give anybody 1,000% of their money back. If they didn't implement, it will not work. But if it works, if they keep up their end of the bargain, and any salesperson, any marketer, any entrepreneur, any consultant understands that any sort of sale is a partnership. I sell it to you, but you have to use it, leverage it, install it, maintain it. You have to take care of it, and you have to act and implement on your end of the bargain. If you don't do that, it's going to be too expensive. Even if it's $10, it's too expensive. If it's $1 million and it solves a $50 million problem, it's cheap. So it's, again, that context setting of let's not talk about the price, let's talk about the outcome.
Cool. Let's go to the next one.
So number 8, again, number 8, just another variation, some different language you can use. Let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish first, and then we'll work out some pricing options based on that. Now with this one, notice again the language at the end. We'll work out some pricing options with an S, right? It's not, here's the price, take it or leave it. You might have a variety of options in every proposal, small, medium, large, and supersize. And the reason to have 3 or 4 or 5 options, this is why cars, pickup trucks and SUVs come in 5 different sizes. This is why restaurants, fast food restaurants like McDonald's, have the small meal, the regular meal, the happy meal, the supersized meal. Because different people have different appetites and different people have different budgets. So as soon as you take the pressure off, you say, well, there's not one price. After we talk, I'm going to give you a variety of options to choose from. And then here's the other piece of language that you can use. In my experience, our pricing has an option for just about everybody. Let's get back to what you're hoping to accomplish. So again, it makes the pricing discussion safe. It says, I'm not going to take out the big hammer and hit you on the head. I'm going to give you options, and then based on the value that you receive and based on the investment that you're willing to make, there's going to be an option that fits for you.
That's really cool.
Now, so the next one, I'll go into the next one as well, because the next one is very similar. It's a different way to say the same thing. So number 9 is, do you want the Ferrari version, the Lexus version, or the VW Bug? Right? It's the same concept, except now you're articulating it in terms of cars or things that people are already familiar with, saying, hey, all 3 of these are cars. They can get you from point A to point B. Do you want the Ferrari, super high-end? Do you want the Lexus, a nice luxury car? Or do you want the VW Bug, which is just functional transportation? And then based on that answer, and these are questions where they may give you a serious answer. They say, well, I definitely don't want the Ferrari. Tell me what the Lexus looks like. And then you're back in the conversation about what they want, what they need, and what they're actually buying.
Let me tell you, when I was reading this, I was laughing so much on this one because they can relate to this Ferrari and Lexus and Bug.
Yeah.
Real life, you know you're being a human, and they all see the differences in their own mind. You don't have to tell what the difference between these two is. And right at this moment, I see, I better talk to David right away. Cool. This is really very interesting. So, what's number 10?
Yeah, so number 10, again, this is another version of that bracketing, very big brackets, big wide brackets in the pricing conversation. Someone says, hey, David, how much is it? And I've had a little bit of time now to understand who they are, what they need, what they want, what they're up against. If I have enough information, I say, well, based on what we've talked about so far, and again, that's important because there may be a lot more information that I need to come up with a real price. But based on what we talked about so far, a project like what we've been talking about ranges from X to Y, somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000, right? So, and here's the magic of this phrase: sometimes a little more, not usually less. Is that what you were looking to invest? Is that what you were expecting to invest? So this does a couple of things, all in one little sentence here, 2 or 3 little sentences in one phrase. Number 1, it sets those big anchors of it's somewhere between here, somewhere between there. Now, sometimes when folks hear a range, and if I say it's somewhere between 10 and 50, they're very optimistic. They have their optimistic prospect ears on, and they hear $10,000. I said, no, I didn't say it was $10,000. I said it was somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000. That's why I say not sometimes a little more, right? More than 50, not usually less. Not usually less. So again, if you have $500 and my Super Deluxe websites, if I'm selling websites, my Super Deluxe website is $10,000. And if I say, listen, it's somewhere between $10,000 and $50,000, if you're building the next Amazon.com, by the way, it's not going to be $10,000. It's going to be more than that, right? If I say that little magic phrase, sometimes a little more, not usually less, is that what you were expecting to invest? That makes it sound reasonable. That makes it sound like, everyone is expecting to make an investment in this range. You wouldn't try and buy a Ferrari for $10,000 either. And you know that if someone charges you $100,000 for a VW Bug, that you're overpaying. So we all have an expectation of what we'll need to invest. Now, some prospects, their expectation is totally off base, like it's wild and crazy, not even in the ballpark. Other prospects, they say, well, you know, it was what I was expecting to invest. You know, I'm not necessarily happy about it, but that number makes sense. So it's, again, a way to qualify, disqualify, and set the context for the real part of the conversation, which is what are they trying to accomplish and where are they in that range.
My creative juice is flowing in, and you know, I see it like applying it right after this interview. And folks, you are watching this. If you are not, you learned all this already. So far, we covered 10 answers to one simple question. By the way, this question really makes or break your sale. This is that important question. And you can't ignore this question. You probably already know that. You have lost so many deals. I lost probably 2. So this is time to watch over and over again and actually put a comment underneath. What did you learn and what's your action plan to actually use it? So you think so you and I can actually ask David to come back and give us a whole big presentation, actually give us a lot more training? I don't know. I'm interested, but David is not going to come back and actually train me, one person. He want to leverage his time. Why not go ahead and put more comments underneath and tell me? I'm going to tell you the call to action, how you are actually we can have a David. David asked me if we can get me 500 or 1,000 people on a call. He will love to train all of us. And plus, probably enroll into the long-term program, by the way. David, would you accept 500 people on a webinar who already watched this video, by the way? They're not cold people. They already know and like and trust you. Otherwise, if you don't like David, you can go home and they probably have more time to spend with your family. There's no point of watching this.
I would gladly and with open arms embrace those 500 people.
Oh, thank you so much. Folks, I'm not making it up. David had no clue I'm going to ask him in a live presentation. David, let's be honest. Just tell me.
I had no idea, but I like the way you think. I like it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So let's move on to this. So folks, we have covered 10, 7 more to go.
Yeah, and these next 7 will be quick because they're all just variations and little slight subtle differences. They're all really important, but I think you'll enjoy these. Now, we've laid out all the principles in the first 10. Number 11, and this is, again, the stone cold truth. I believe salespeople and marketing folks and entrepreneurs should always, always, always tell the truth at every single point in the sales process. So number 11 is there's no good answer to that question in a vacuum, because there is no good answer to that question in a vacuum. Can we talk a little bit more about what you're hoping we can do for you? And then I'll give you some pricing options that make sense for your budget. And again, that's a calming statement, right? Once you tell me what you're hoping we can do for you, then I'll give you some pricing options, and that's a safe word, that make sense. Make sense is a safe word for your budget, which is also a safe word. So it says, listen, let's figure out what you're trying to accomplish. Then I'll give you some options, some pricing options that make sense for your budget. So now the prospect is thinking, okay, I have options. Options are always good. That options make them feel safe. These options are going to make sense. I like things that make sense. They're logical. They're rational. I'm not being asked to take a big leap of faith here. And it's going to fit my budget. And my boss will like that, or my CEO will like that, or my CFO will like that. So that's a great answer. There's no good answer to that question in a vacuum. Can we talk a little bit more about what we're hoping we can do for you? Then I'll give you some pricing options that make sense for your budget.
Great, so natural. It's just like it's coming as a human, you know.
Right.
It's so good. So. And
let me jump in. I'll jump into number 12 also, because number 12 also very similar to number 11. A project of this scope only makes sense if it's already in your budget. And now that's a qualifying statement. Like, if you weren't expecting to spend this kind of money, I'm not going to make you spend it on a whim, right? So a project of this scope only makes sense if it's already in your budget. Nobody wakes up one day and suddenly finds the money to solve these kinds of problems. if you can share the budget range you have set aside for this, I can tell you if it makes sense for us to talk any further. And again, that's a decision point where you say, okay, listen, you're doing a major software upgrade for your company. That's at least $150,000. I'm sure you have a budget somewhere that says a budget line item, software upgrade, 120, 100, 200, I don't know what it is, but it's going to be something. No one wakes up one day and says, I know, let's spend $200,000 on software. So if that's the kind of sale that you're involved in, I think you have to tell the stone cold truth. A project of this scope only makes sense if it's already in your budget. Can you share with me the budget range you have set aside for this so I can tell you if it makes sense for us to talk any further? Because if there's a huge disconnect, save their time, save your time, and move on to the folks who do have this in their budget.
Cool. No, this is really, you know, especially this number 12 can help many corporate salespeople, especially who have the high-end ticket items. As I said, I sell 25K to 200K packages to many. So that can really, because they have to set aside, there's no way to, dollars are not grown on trees, so you have to plan for it, you know. So this really works well for them. So
right.
Okay, let's go to number 13.
Well, number 13 is one of my favorites. This one's one of my favorites. Someone says, hey, David, how much is it? And we haven't really fully fleshed out what they're buying or what they want or what they need. And again, it's honest. It's an honest 100% answer. This is the answer that's in all of our heads. This is the answer that's in every salesperson would love to say this. And I'm telling you that as a salesperson, you should say this. Here it is. I have a feeling that if I quote some random number right now, I'm going to be dead in the water. Do you mind if I ask you some questions to get a better idea of what your goals are? Then the numbers we talk about will be specific to your situation. I love this. I love this one. Because number one, you're saying, hey, listen, I'm afraid that if I give you some random number, high, low, or medium, I'm going to be dead in the water. This sales process will come to a grinding halt, right? So, do you mind if I ask you some questions specific to you and your company and your goals and your situation? Then the numbers we talk about, and again, there's an implied promise that you will talk about the numbers. The numbers we talk about will be specific to your situation. So this is a way that you're serving the client even better by not naming some random numbers, but by getting a feel for what they're trying to accomplish, and then the pricing discussion will be very specific and customized and tailored to them.
Absolutely, it makes sense. You know, it's again, I read this one a few times, and every time I feel like it's really written really from me and for me. It's not really by David. You know,
right?
That is so natural. So. Yeah. The number 14.
So the next one, again, this is just a little bit of truth telling. It's a little bit more involved, a little bit more sophisticated logic. But here's what it sounds like: just like you need to make an educated decision about which partner or which resource to work with, and again, talking about people like me, right? Which consultant to hire, which marketing coach, which software company, whatever it is, I need to give you an educated answer to your pricing question. And I'm feeling pretty dumb right now. So again, that's a self-deprecating way of saying, I don't have enough information. I don't have enough information to give you the educated answer that you deserve. So, do you mind if we have a 10-minute conversation first about your situation? After that, I'll have a much better idea of what you're after and some different ways we can help. Now, when you say some different ways we can help, obviously, again, that refers to the different levels and the different depths that your solutions might come in at a variety of pricing points. So it's perfectly okay to say, hey, listen, you deserve an educated answer to your pricing question. I'm feeling kind of dumb right now. Can we talk a little bit more about what you're after? And then I'll have a much better idea of what you're after and some different ways we can help.
Cool, cool. Let's go to the next one.
So 15 is, again, this is, think about the context and think about what you've had back and forth in the sales conversation so far. But if they sound like they're really desperate or cheap or broke or money is such an overarching issue for them, that's when I would pull this one out. So number 15 sounds like price is the most important factor to you. In my experience, everything is expensive until you want it. Can we talk about what you want and then work our way to the pricing options based on that? So again, the key soundbite there is everything is expensive until you want it. You know, someone who doesn't really care about the Ferrari, getting back to our Ferrari example, can say, well, how much is that Ferrari? Oh, it's $450,000. Oh my God, that's so expensive. That's the most expensive car I've ever seen. There's a guy or there's a gal at the Ferrari dealer right now. Look at your watch. Look at your watch. Look at today's date. There's someone buying a Ferrari somewhere on the planet right now. Probably dozens of them. They don't think $450,000 is so incredibly expensive they could never imagine spending that kind of money. They're looking forward to spending that kind of money because they want the Ferrari. So everything is expensive until you want it. You know, maybe this prospect doesn't want it. Maybe their need isn't so great. Maybe they don't see the value. Maybe they don't see the relevance. So to them, it's expensive. But again, it's one of these truth-telling statements where it's going to disqualify the non-buyers and it's going to qualify in your best buyers.
Yeah. No, this is a very, very specific. It is so great learning, and we got 2 more to go. And what's the number 16?
So 16 is, again, it's kind of funny. It's kind of depending on your sense of humor and your prospect's sense of humor. I would say, you know, they say, well, David, how much is it? And I live here in Philadelphia, so I might use the Rocky statue as a landmark. I say, well, it's going to cost more than a cab ride to the Rocky statue, but it's going to cost less than buying the Rocky statue. So if you lived in New York City, for example, you'd say, well, it's going to cost more than a cab ride to the Empire State Building, but it's going to cost you less than the Empire State Building, right? If we can chat for 10 more minutes about why you called, I can give you a much more specific answer. So do you have 10 minutes now, or should we look at our calendars and find a time that works for both of us? So again, it takes the pressure off. It takes the rush out of the product. Oh, how much is it? I want to buy. How much is it? You say, well, I don't know yet, right? It costs more than a cab ride to the Empire State Building, but it costs less than the building. So don't worry. We need to spend 10 minutes to get you a serious answer. Do you want to spend that 10 minutes now, or should we look at our calendars? And it's, again, it's a nice peer-to-peer way to say, I can't quote a price out of thin air.
Yeah. And David, I appreciate that. I learned something on this one. Let me tell you my version of this one I have been using, and I'm just plussing your idea. I like it. Okay. When somebody asks me a price, price, that's what that is. Oh, give me the dollar amount. I want to see that. They want to get to the bottom line right away. I tell them, okay, what's your zip code? I don't answer that question, by the way. Now I will be answering it the right way. Now I'm learning from you. That's why. I always ask them, what's your zip code? What do you mean? I say, I'm asking for a zip code, not your address. Just give me the zip code. There probably 50,000 people live in that zip code. Oh, yeah, like 32004, whatever the number is. What I do is I go on a Walmart and find how far is the Walmart from that zip code. And I say there's a 2.5 miles from this zip code. There's the closest by Walmart on this street.
Yeah.
Because that's the only company who sells on a price. Everything else, everybody else is selling on a value.
Ah, that's fantastic. I love that.
And they say, oh my God, it's like they never ask me the damn price again. I have been using this for years. It works with virtually
brilliant. I love that. So that one may be one that I borrow from your playbook. Would that be okay?
Oh, absolutely. You have my 100% permission.
I love that.
Oh, thank you. You know, because they know, they go to the Walmart anyway, and we sell for less. Everybody know Walmart. If you don't know Walmart, you're probably from outside of US and may not be Walmart. There would be any big retail store
right.
who will sell for a cheap discount, and they try to make a nickel on millions of things. That's what the really Walmart means. It's a big brand in US.
Right.
If you're watching from another place. So, and it's again humor, and plus they will never ask you the price question after that one until you come to the right moment, because they are scared to get to the end of the Walmart story, you know.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, cool. And we kept the best one at the last. Go for it.
Oh, absolutely. So answer number 17 is also one of my favorites. Again, it's a little bit more involved, but it's based on complete truth, right? Here's what it is. Until I have a better idea of what you want, or whether or not we can even help you, right? Until I have a better idea of what you want, or whether this even is a good idea for you, any number I give you is going to be high. Any number I give you is going to be high. That's the key nugget of that one. Would it be okay if we spend a few minutes discussing why you called? Then, if we can help, right, if we can help, I'll get you the pricing options that you need. And if we can't, I'll refer you to some other great resources that do the things that we don't. Fair enough? Now again, that's a longer, little bit of a conversational statement, but let's unpack it just very quickly. Until I have a better idea of what you want and whether or not we can even help. So you bring in the possibility, this might not be right for you. This isn't for everybody, right? This is a very exclusive, high-end, premium product, program, service, solution, whatever it is you're selling, right? So this might not even be for you. And any number I give you is going to seem high. It's going to seem high. That's the stone cold truth, right? So can we spend a few minutes talking about why you called, and then if we can help, again, that conditional, if we can help, I'll get you some pricing options that you need, because obviously you're asking, so you need some pricing options, right? Right. If we can help, I'll give you the pricing options that we need. If we can't, I'm happy to refer you to some other great resources and some other great companies who do what we don't. Fair enough? And then that fair enough is the call to action question where, there's a, well, yes, that sounds fair. That makes sense. Let's do that. So you're setting the upfront agreement of how you'd like the rest of the conversation to roll out. And that really, that last one, number 17, probably encompasses all the principles that we've been talking about in every one of these answers.
Thank you so much, David. I really learned a lot, and my audience have learned a lot too. If you're watching this so far, you have been learning. You acknowledge it. How do I know you learned it or not? I'm going to read all of your comments underneath. Go ahead and put comments on Google Plus or on Facebook. There are two options. We love Google and we love Facebook. We don't want to discriminate anybody. Whatever you like, we like yours options. We give you both options to comment it. We will be reading it. And if there's over, like a significant number of comments, they want David back. I'm going to give you option in a moment. Bring your cell phone and very close to you. And there's always there's a study out there that usually people keep their cell phone at 2-3 feet away from them. I keep it less than a feet away. Okay, so I always have access to the cell phone because many of my premium clients need me all the time, which is, I love it. Wonderful. And if your cell phone doesn't look like this, it's okay. I'm just asking for a cell phone which can actually make a call or send a text. It does not have to be smartphone. It's okay. If you have a cell phone, you will be able to talk to us. That's what we're talking here. Thank you so much, David. I'm going to ask you a few unreasonable questions if you're open for that.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. If someone salesperson is watching this and they feel you can help them, what should be their clear mindset questions? They should prepare themselves to actually why they should even engage with you, from based on they like your content. What kind of questions they have to have an open mind, clear conscious, finally to make a leap into their business and make quadruple their whatever they're doing. These little things they can do and they can improve their sales by 2x, 3x, 4x or something, and what you have seen the experiences from other clients.
Yeah, well, specifically with pricing, it's funny that you asked this question. I've helped salespeople and marketers and small business owners double and triple their pricing while actually either maintaining or increasing their number of clients. Now, it's not the same clients because you're not going to sell premium products and programs and services to broke people. But as far as raising your sites, raising your sites, premium clients, premium fees, premium transactions, premium relationships, that's where I've helped a lot of salespeople and marketing folks and entrepreneurs to raise their game and to charge what they're worth and to make the money they deserve.
Thank you. Thank you. If you like this answer to this question, David, how much do you charge? Or your client is asking how much do you charge? You just listen to one answer right now. If you like this one, and I ask in a complete interview 17 answers, including this one, so that this you just watched one, and there are 16 more. If you want those 16, I want you to do one thing. As I just told you a moment ago, bring your cell phone out. Here you go. What I want you to do is send a text to 404-418-6019. This is Atlanta, Georgia based phone number, and in a message put a David, D-A-V-I-D. The moment you text, you are giving me a permission to send you a link back and text back to you, and I can call you, and you can text me and I can text you. That's a fair exchange. In return, I'm going to send you a complete interview, and plus one more. There's always a more thing we are going to give it to you. David has this beautiful book, free marketing ebook. Let me show you, because you don't have to trust me what he has. I'm going to show it to you so you can see it, how it looks like. Okay? So here is the book, Do It Marketing, Define, Organize, Implement, and Track. It's ebook. It's all 100% free to you. I have access to it. I want you to have access to this book. Again, 100% free. I want you to consume as much as possible. And hopefully once you're done with this book, you already know, like, and trust David Newman. Once every sale, everything starts from know, like, and trust until somebody trusts you. And you're going to show it to me by reading this book and sending me the text. That's why I'm going to send you this ebook. And then, of course, we can invite David back with, if there's enough, 500 to 1,000 people actually contact us. You can visit his website, doitmarketing.com, and I'm sure there's a lot more free resources. See, he's a very concise. I'm just going to look at this. I'm a visual learner myself. I don't read too much text, and I'm sure maybe that's you too. And he put this nice, all the different components to it, and it's for visual people. And otherwise, I was feeling like I'm reading this boring text. I'm sorry, I don't read much. However, I watch videos and I look at the images. But he covered for every reading style, basically, the audio, video, and the text, the key concept. So this is not just an ebook to get some kind of content just to kind of capture you.
Well, and also, Sadiq, you know that you're looking at that in the browser, so it looks kind of funky and pink and green and purple. When you look at it in a PDF reader, it's actually very nice, clean, black, white, red, bold graphics, short paragraphs, lots of bullets. So it's easy to scan, and as you say, it's very visual. Lots of charts, tables, graphics that make it very easy to absorb.
So, folks, go ahead. I wanted to show you what you're going to get, okay? It's like getting the ownership experience of something and seeing it, what you're going to read, before I even ask you to text. Now you know why I was asking you to text it to me. So if you're still sitting on a fence, and you probably ask your honey or someone else in your room, oh, bring my cell phone. It's in the upstairs, downstairs, or the other room. By this time, you already have the phone number with you. Again, if you don't know how the cell phone look like, I know it's so funny, but here's how it look like mine, and I'm sure you know how you look like. So send a text to 404-418-6019. Once I have 1,000 people text it to me on this one, again, when you're texting it to me, you're giving me a permission to send you a text live or by my system. That's also called robo text, or I can call you, or I can also have my system call you to remind, hey, we got 1,000 people, now we want to invite David back to actually teach us more. And that can improve our bottom line. I don't know about you. I'm looking for, even for my selfish reason. David is not willing to train me one-to-one. That's not even what I do. I want to leverage his time. I want to respect his time. Join me. I will be student just like you on that call. Okay? You probably know from on this interview, I was learning myself just like you. Let's engage him and improve your own business. I will improve my business, and we will improve our client's health business. That is all about adding a value to everyone. So if you're still sitting on a fence, again, let me read this one. If you can't read my beautiful handwriting, which is 404-418-6019, 404-418-6019. I was told I have to say this number 3 times and slowly. Here is my third one. 404-418-6019, and in a message, send a text. Thank you so much for watching. And David, I really appreciate on the behalf of JV Genius, myself, and everybody else in my team, we just thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. It's a killer content. Every salesperson, business owner, solopreneur, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, you own a business, you are in a marketing business, okay? It does not matter what you're selling. In a marketing business, when somebody comes to you before the transaction happens, the presentation or phone call or Skype call or a Google Hangout call or anything, wherever you're communicating, people will ask you how much it's going to charge you, how you're going to charge me, because they want to see if it's worth of my time and within my budget or not. Guess what's happening? If you don't have this answer, what you just learned, one of this, and elevate yourself to the next level where we want to engage David for the next thing, your whole missing, keep doing the same thing is not going to produce different results. I don't want to say insane because people don't like that part mostly. Okay, thank you so much, David, and hopefully I will path across again soon.
Yes. Thanks, Sadiq. We'll see you next time.
Our job is finished and your job begins right now.